So we were highlighting earlier before we started recording how Trump basically stole the song from
He's so lame. He is so lame.
such a loser. He took Beyonce's song "Freedom" featuring Kendrick Lamar and used it for his campaign, even though she specifically only gave Kamala Harris permission to use the song. I mean, this like the total opposite of everything that like Trump is the total opposite of everything that song stands for. But it's also ironic because Kendrick Lamar is also like the opposite of everything Trump stands for. Like, so again, if you've been keeping track with the Kendrick Drake beef and the resolution of that, or at least so far, I wouldn't say that Drake is Trump in terms of like what Trump means to American culture versus what Drake means to American culture. But some of the ways Drake kicks it, not healthy for the music industry. And if you love rap music like I do, definitely not helpful for rap music, even though he stayed on top of the industry for so long. And then on the flip side, you've got to figure like Kendrick Lamar, who thought, you know, while Drake is out here making music for the kids to bop to, he thought he was going to change the world with his music. I mean, as naive as that is, but you could
Oh,
take
Hotline Bling is going to change. Is that
no, no, no,
was that
no,
was
no,
it
no,
them?
no, no, no. Kendrick
Oh,
Lamar, not Drake.
oh, okay,
And
okay. I'm like,
it's funny you say that because one of the lines of attack that Lamar and Kendrick took in talking about Drake in the middle of the battle when he was clearly losing, he was like, "You ain't gonna tootsie slide your way out of this one," which is which is hilarious because it's also, I mean, I don't know if you guys know who Joe Budden is. A lot
yeah.
in terms of rap, a lot less successful than Kendrick and Drake, but just extraordinarily talented is both of those just in terms of writing lyrics. And it was a play off of what Joe Budden said about Drake in the song. But anyway, it's extraordinarily ironic because some of the ways in which Trump is trapped in this downward spiral that he can't get out of, because of the switch from from Biden to Harris and what Harris stands for, and the way she has the support of the people and the culture specifically. It's extraordinarily reminiscent to what Kendrick Lamar was talking about in his attack on Drake, right? He was basically saying, look at this dude, like where he was born, how he grew up. He don't have the same shared experiences as we do. Like he comes with all of this baggage, he comes to the United States to try and capitalize on the culture while not being a part of it. Uses Houston, uses Atlanta, uses Miami, uses LA, and the clout from all of these people who have these lived experiences. Now, I'm not saying Drake is a vulture, but the way Kendrick referred to him was basically a culture vulture. And that definitely applies to Trump in the same way that, like, look at the way he tries to appeal to black votes, like hats, shoes, he's saying like being indicted somehow makes him more just it's definitely reminiscent in the same sense that like the way that Drake grew up and wasn't considered a part of the community, Trump definitely isn't. And that's why there's been such an outpouring of support for Kamala Harris and such like a lackluster performance from Trump once he sees that the response for Harris is genuine and deep, and all of his supporters and his support is, fraudulent and shallow. But before we get out of here, vibes check real quick. Ty, how you feeling about the state of the Harris campaign?
Super, super enthusiastic since the convention started. She is like doing numbers like gangbusters. The enthusiasm is building. And I think that this convention has only elevated her because even people on Fox News was like, that roll call was dope. Like they can't like they
Nothing they can say.
even some people are like, there's nothing that they can say. And I think that even like before, I think on the first night, they weren't carrying it or whatever. But after the first night, then the second night, then you've got every major outlet carrying it. And as much as Fox is trying to spin it, it's getting so much momentum and it is spreading that it is infecting everybody, and people are being reminded of that feeling. And somebody had said something that is so true. And they were like, for a lot of these younger people, their only experiences with Trump over the last however many years, and as far as politics go, so they don't know that feeling that those of us old enough to remember 2008.
Yeah.
You know, when he got elected. And I watched this TikTok, and this young lady, she said that was definitely a movement and a moment, but but it was centered around Obama, solely Obama. And she said, Harris is different because she is elevating the Josh Shapiros, the Walses, the Gretchen Whitmers, the Newsoms. She's bringing a whole slew of people up with her, and that energy is vibing through them too. And they're taking that back to their constituents and their states. Like, it was centered around Obama, but Harris is lifting up a whole bunch of people, it's not just centered around her. This energy is a whole vibe.
Yeah,
like she's the party.
It's just like what Kendrick was saying. She bringing a culture with him. I mean, in this sense, is the Democratic Party culture, not necessarily like hip hop, black culture. But yeah, she's bringing all this. And this is another thing the Republicans don't have. They don't have a bench full of stars. Like, their entire party is a cult of personality that's it's centered around one person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Harris. Yeah. It's like the total opposite, where Trump is trying to dominate the people, and Harris and her campaign and the Democratic Party are taking the energy from the people and delivering it to the rest of the masses. Carol, how you feeling?
Well,
last check.
Yeah, like what you were saying, Kamala elevates other people, and as a result, you can see all the it's great to see all of the new ideas being put in the spotlight, new people, new ideas. And it's great to see, they obviously feel the same for her, and they showed up for her. Like, it wasn't just that we got better people, but it was like a nonstop. They barely took a break during the DNC coverage. There's like a nonstop A-lister speech.
Yeah, star after star. It was like if the Star Spangled Banner were a party, it would be the Democratic Party, because it was all them stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not that wins elections, but it shows how enthusiastic people are, and hopefully it draws people from different pools
that's absolutely true.
Yeah, this convention's not going to win the election, but it is like getting the ball rolling, even more so in ways that just announcing her candidacy and sewing up the nomination couldn't. Because, I mean, it is what it is. That's how these conventions work. But it's it's the chance to create all of this content to send out to the masses, especially now in short form content, but even people who don't pay attention to political TikTok or whatever. You'll hear your favorite podcasters talking about it, or your favorite. I mean, I don't know how much the kids are streaming these days talking about politics, but Kamala Harris is a superstar and has a level of crossover appeal that, like you said, we haven't seen since Obama. And one of the things the DNC and the Harris campaign has that the Trump campaign doesn't is a lot of former Trumpers.
Yeah.
So I do find it quite hilarious that they're dragging up former Trump employees and appointees to speak at the DNC, and they've got conservative judges, sharing their support for Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know how, super important Judge Ludig is in terms of convincing the, 18, 19, 20-year-olds to turn out and vote for Kamala Harris. But it does mean something in Republican circles. It's some serious shit. That was a dude, the George Bush probably would have put on the Supreme Court if he had had the opportunity. And now he's out here endorsing Kamala Harris. Shit like that matters. I'm combining words. I'm turning into Chris Cody from Levitar's show, like we were talking about last week. But like you said, Carol, it's her moment. This is a movement. Hopefully we can ride that wave, because this is going to be a lot different than just convincing the people who turned out to vote for Joe Biden in 2020 to just show up again. It's just it's a different psychological hurdle to get them to vote for, even, obviously Harris was on the ticket, but to vote for her at the top of the ticket is just a different psychological hurdle than like voting for the same guy you just voted for last time, who did a pretty decent job. And here, Ty, like you were saying, it's funny that she's like Kendrick and Drake in some ways. Like in terms of Dot, she's got the culture on her side, but in terms of Drake, like she's doing Drake numbers. It's incredible. And that concludes this episode of Pardon the Insurrection.